So it's Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, fourth quarter to be exact. Chris Paul is going off, just hit a huge three to seal the game, and it looks like it's pretty much over. At this point, it's clear that the Suns are moving on to the NBA Finals and the Clippers are going home. And both sides have accepted their fate, except Patrick Beverley. Although these two were joined at each other throughout the whole game and maybe the whole series, nobody expected Beverley to push CP3 at that point in the game. That was just out of line, and it made Beverley look like a poor sport and honestly a sore loser. Regardless of what kind of sport or competition it is, athletes and just human beings in general sign some sort of unseen social contract which draws boundaries on just how competitive or physical one can get with an opponent. And that's why we feel like we can judge situations like this one and say that Pat Bev was out of line. It's exactly why we get angry at the refs when they call a foul which we think is soft, because we think that the foul is within the confines of good competition. But as we know, even with this social contract, sometimes things just take a turn. It could be in concerning ways and other times in hilarious ways. In this video, we're going to be covering an example that has both, so let's get into it. In 2019, two teams in the Philippine Basketball Association faced off against each other and two players were going at it the whole game. One of the players is former NBA player Terrence Jones, who played 6 seasons in the league with the Rockets, Pelicans, and the Bucks, and he was generally a solid NBA player. The other guy is Calvin Abueva, who is well known in the Philippine League and a good player. He's known for his skills on the court, but most of all, his intensity. This man got disqualified from the Asian Cup competition because he headbutted a player who pushed him to the ground and stared at him. He's not one to shy away from physicality, and you can immediately tell because the moment you search him up on YouTube, you'll see his highlights and a lot of scuffles and fights. And on the day he faced Terrence Jones, he was about to add another one to the tapes. Much like Patrick Beverley and Chris Paul, these two had been playing physical and jawing at each other for the whole game. Terrence Jones' team was blowing out Calvin Abueva's squad. Oh, and would you look at that, Phoenix was playing. With a little under 8 minutes left in the game, Calvin Abueva, who had already been given a technical foul, intentionally ran into Jones. He was trying to be slick about it, but everybody knew what was going on. As payback, Jones hit Calvin Abueva below the belt, and he was also trying to be slick about it, but we were quickly reminded why he's a ball player and not an actor. It was clearly intentional, and it was also evident that Abueva was in pain. As the refs were reviewing the situation, this happened.
After that?
Tinakbo na lang ni Calvin.
Yes, you saw that correctly. As Abueva was literally trying to run the pain away, Terrence Jones decided to hop in his bag and show him how to really shake it off. But why not? After all, the game was coming to an end and his team had pretty much won, and this was a great way to cap off the battle with Calvin Abueva that night. Or so he thought. The referees decided that it was a common foul, and as Calvin's team was inbounding, you can see him telling his teammates something along the lines of, "He's mine." And oh boy, nobody expected what was about to happen next. On the possession right after the foul, Abueva called for the ball, took it to the rim for a tough shot and missed. And the rebound was chased by Abueva and none other than Terrence Jones. As you can see, Jones was right ahead of Calvin Abueva. And to a normal person, there's nothing crazy about this sight. But for Calvin, this was a perfect opportunity.
Juan Patroliano puts it up, doesn't work. Jones got out of.
Target acquired.
Oh! And Calvin just clotheslined.
I love how Calvin Abueva pointed out like, oh, that's a foul, my bad, after hitting a man with a proper clothesline. As you would expect, there was a scuffle afterwards, but don't think for a second that that was the end of it. Because while the officials were reviewing the situation, Calvin Abueva had one last performance. In very petty fashion, Abueva showed Jones that anything you can do, I can do better. He got ejected and his team lost the game, but really, it was his night. But the real winners that day were fans who paid tickets for a basketball game, but ended up watching MMA, a dance show, and basketball. Okay, I must confess, I got that from a YouTube comment. Alright, that's it for the video though. There's more where that came from, so be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time,